After a long silence, Rockstar dropped a cover art video this week. Let's take a look at it here. Notice that there is a pre-order date. It has some 80 synth music and all of it is awesome. So I gotta agree, it's worth waiting for. One of the weirdest things that I think is that we're looking at a video for cover art. The video for cover art, I've never seen that in industry that's so wanting to see something and it appears that this cover art is going to do that. So it's unheard of to, usually it's just a piece of art that comes out. It's a JPEG or something like that, but I've never seen a movie for it, but maybe it was done in the past. I'm not sure. It's just remarkable that this simple of an image. But all that further aside, that's not what I really want to talk about this week. So what I want to talk about is buried on their website. There's a new 10-second clip of Vice City. It's a slow drift across the skyline with the whole bay lit up. And the GTA community, along with Reddit, is analyzing every bit of it. So in their analysis of this clip, they found something very weird in it. Now let's see if you can pick out what I'm going to talk about. So if you'll notice, there is a Ferris wheel on the far side of the bay, and it casts no reflection in the water. None. Everything else reflects. The skyscrapers, the lights, all of it. But the Ferris wheel, it's like it isn't even there. So the internet did what the internet does. They went absolutely apeshit and just said, GTA 6 is broken. We've waited 13 years for this, and now we get this broken piece of crap. So I want to walk you through what's actually happening here because it's not a bug. It's something far more interesting. It's something I've watched teams do firsthand. Let me give credit where credit is due. This breakdown comes off the back of a Digital Foundry analysis, and I'll include the link down below. Also, what I'll do is I'll include a link to the video so you can take and look at it yourself. This video is isolated from the source on the website, so you don't have to keep scrolling back and forth on the website to take a look at it. I'm going to translate what Digital Foundry came up with in their article. So here's a quick point. If you're new here, I'm not a guy with a capture card and reading the news and every rumor out there. That's why I've stayed silent for the last week or so between videos because there really wasn't anything to talk about. Rockstar is just dead silent, so everybody's just kind of speculating. Now we have something to take a look at, and I've spent 14 years in the game industry, including some time at Epic Games, on the production side, managing how games have been built and shipped. And that's what I'm bringing to this channel. If you like this, tune in for more. Okay, so now let's get back to the water and the Ferris wheel. So let's zoom in on this little puppy and see what we're actually seeing here. So here's the situation. We knew from the first two trailers that GTA 6 uses ray traced reflections. We've confirmed that for a while. What this new clip tells us is that the game isn't using just one reflection technique, it's using two, and it's stitched together like a hybrid. And once you understand these two techniques, and more importantly, why a developer would choose to use both, that missing Ferris wheel stops looking like a bug and starts looking exactly like you would see in a game that isn't just quite finished yet. So let me actually teach you the two systems without any jargon, so I'm hoping that this will make sense. The first technique is called ray tracing. Here's the simplest way I could put it. When the game wants to draw a reflection in the water, it uses ray tracing. It fires a beam of light from the water surface into the world and asks, what is out there? What is actually going to bounce back? And then it draws that. It's the huge advantage, as you can see in this clip, is that ray tracing knows the whole scene, even the parts of it that are actually hidden or partially can't be seen. Watch what happens when the helicopter flies across the skyline. The reflection in the water doesn't flicker. The buildings keep reflecting cleanly even when something passes in front of them. That stability that you see, that is ray tracing doing its job. Now, a small dev detail, because this is kind of the thing I actually love. Digital Foundry pointed out that the reflected buildings are a touch brighter than the real buildings above them. The reflection isn't carrying the full shadowing and shading of the original buildings. That's not sloppiness, that's choice. Ray tracing is expensive. It eats up your GPU. So you need to tune it. So you tell the engine, reflect the shapes, don't bother recomputing every shadow and every bit of ambient shading in the mirror image. Players will never notice that mid-game play. So voila, the engineer brought back a few frames of precious performance from the engine. Now, I'll come back to that idea because that's the whole answer behind this Ferris wheel. So let's look at the second technique, which is screen space reflections, or SSR. This one is a cheaper, older trick, and the name tells you everything. SSR only reflects what's on your screen right now. So think of it like this. Ray tracing is a window. It can show you things outside the frame. SSR is like a photocopier. It can only copy what's already in front of it. If something is off the edge of the screen or hidden behind another object, SSR has nothing to copy, so it just leaves a gap. So if you look closely, you can see SSR in this clip too. It's working as a backup. Look at the very edges of the water. There's a subtle cutoff right where the screen ends. That's a fingerprint of SSR filling in the spots where ray tracing didn't cover. Two systems are working together. Ray tracing does the heavy lifting, and then SSR is going in and patching up the corners. So here's the big thing. Neither of them are reflecting that Ferris wheel. So now we get to the actual answer of why this is actually happening. Here's why the Ferris wheel is invisible in the water. It comes to a single decision that gets made on every game like this. When you set up ray tracing, the engine keeps what essentially is a guest list of objects that are allowed in the reflection pass. The technical name for this is bounding volume hierarchy, or BVH. Just forget about that name. Just think that this is like a guest list. Every object on that list costs GPU time to reflect. As a developer, you make the calls. You decide you're on that list, you're not on that list, so that you can make the optimum performance calls. So look at where that Ferris wheel is. It's at the far end of the bay. It's very, very far in the distance. It's exactly the kind of object you quietly leave off that guest list, because no player running through Vice City at street level is ever going to stop and inspect the reflection of that Ferris wheel across the entire bay. There's no way they can possibly see it. You're getting a rare view here. You spend your budget on the skyline that dominates the shot. You don't spend it on the Ferris wheel. So that's the answer. The Ferris wheel isn't broken. It was left off that guest list, either on purpose to save performance or because this is pre-release footage and the flag simply hasn't been set yet. In the final month of the project, this is a huge amount of what the team is doing, nailing down those last things on performance. They're not building new things, they're fine-tuning. They're walking through the world, deciding what items reflect and what doesn't, and every frame of the GPU gets spent. I've watched teams spend weeks on this kind of pass. This is probably maybe footage from a while ago because they had to put it up on their website and get all the press stuff done. And this has probably already been fixed before it even went out to certification. What you're looking at is not a flaw. It's a seam. It's a glimpse inside this game that hasn't had its final polish pass yet. And Rockstar accidentally let us inside and see the stitching. So let me be honest with you, because that's a big part of this entire channel. I can't tell you with certainty which of those two it is, a deliberate optimization or a flag that hasn't been set yet. And neither can anyone else, including Digital Foundry, which they are careful to say in that article. Okay, there's another variable too, camera distance. Ray tracing behavior can change on how far the camera is from an object. We are looking at a fixed 10-second clip that we have zero control over. We can't move the camera. We can't get any closer. So we're looking and guessing at basically what we're trying to surmise from a very, very tiny sample. So what I can tell you is what it is not. It is not evidence that GTA 6 is broken. It is not 13 years of development thrown down the drain. It is one of those normal things in game development, a performance decision based on a distant object. It's captured in unfinished footage. The thing is that it just hasn't been optimized yet. It just gets quietly fixed before launch and nobody ever notices it again. If anything, the good news is hiding in plain sight in this clip. The reflections that are rock solid when the helicopters fly through them. That's the hard part. That's the hard part that's actually working. The Ferris wheel is an easy fix they just have not possibly gotten to. So that's the answer for the Ferris wheel. So the thing is that in the coming week, I assume we're going to get trailer 3 at the same time pre-orders open up on June 25th. So we're going to have a lot more to look at and analyze. One of the rumors out there is that we may get 20 minutes of gameplay footage. So if Rockstar does show 20 minutes of gameplay footage, the majority of that is going to be cinematic because you're going to be in-game watching a cinema, such as your introduction to Jason. I anticipate they would release this because it's probably the most fine-tuned. And the gameplay is going to be very minimal at the end because the cinematics are probably going to take up half that time because they have a story to tell. We'll have more to look at next week. And once you find those things, I want you to call them out to me and let me know. And we can take a look at them on this channel. So if you think that this video was useful to you, please subscribe. And in the comments, let me know, like I said, what the weirdest thing you find in trailer 3. Use this as your sounding board, and I'll try to get to it in the next video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of you. I'm hoping that the trailer 3 drops next week, and I'll have comments, and I'll see you then.